world. I am sitting here with one of our health partners, Jill Treat. She is half of our meal planning guru team. And some of you may have seen her popping up on our social media recently. Or if you've checked out the website, you've seen her. And I was excited to bring her on because I want you guys to know the people that you're working with. We've created this exclusive team and they're phenomenal. And part of what I love about Jill and Samantha is that they're doing part of the work that I can do. If you work with me, you know I can do it. But it's not my strong suit. So to have them on my team is phenomenal. So I'm going to stop chit-chatting and running your ear off. And I'm going to let Jill introduce herself. So thank you for being here
Yes.
and welcome. I'm so excited.
Yes. Thank you for having me. And, thank you guys for joining in and coming in and hearing us talk and everything. If you believe divine intervention, like this is complete divine intervention. So Bonnie and I, just a really quick story, and this is kind of how Samantha and I met. So these virtual networking groups, if you are not part of them or have support from a group that you're in, this is definitely something that I would strongly encourage that you reach out with and just take a leap of faith that you're going to open up your box and make a new friend that way. And so, even though we actually all live in different spots in the United States, we all connect so well together. So, long story short, we ended up on a networking event. And I think we were actually talking before the networking event from a post I put up about healthy eating and meal planning and all that kind of stuff. So that was how we kind of connected. And then our energy is just obviously, you guys can see it's synergistically. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
exciting. So, you have heard, or maybe hearing about my friend Samantha Greider. That is actually one of my associates. That another person I got connected with through another networking event. Actually, that was an international one, which is so
Uh,
crazy. Isn't it amazing how many people we meet like that way?
Well, that's how she and I ended up meeting, and I'll tell you guys that story in just a minute, but I'm gonna let you finish, and then I'll that that definitely is just that is divine intervention.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
reason all of the pieces of our puzzle came all together,
It
and every one of us on the team, it's we just happened to meet. Even Kim and I met in a virtual networking community 12 years ago.
Mhm.
So, it was all just meant to be.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the neatest thing about that is that for a lot of us that are at home now, or maybe not in an avenue where we're out with people anymore, we miss that part. And so this is a way that we can, still be a part of people's lives and still help them and, fulfill our purpose, but also help people to be able to live this awesome life and just feel good. Just feel good. We all have um the same goal in mind. We just bring all the different pieces. And so that is what's so cool is that, like you said, you're really great at the meal planning. I can meal plan. I'm good at it. I'm just not certified. I have all of the reasons of why they go together and different things like that. And that's where it's great for you, Bonnie, to be able to, compliment me because I put in the habits.
Right,
That's the piece that I think is missing from a lot of spots and meal plans because it's an overwhelming word. It's
mhm,
I don't know how else to explain it other than that because you put in meal planning and then you have all these recipes and all these services and all this stuff that pops up. And so I don't know. In my mind, I just am like, oh, that is a lot to take in.
yeah,
And not only that, but we've got advertisements coming at us, and this is just print, I'm just saying print the stuff that's in us, and by all means, you look up meal planning once, and now it's on every one of your social medias that you go onto, and you're like, "How did it read I didn't think I was connected to anything. I didn't even think I turned on my location." Like, how do you know where I'm at, what I'm
mhm,
doing when I have all that stuff shut off? I need
yeah.
to get better at that.
It is insane because and Brian, my husband, laughs because as you know, I talk poop and gut health with everybody, right?
Yep.
And it's constant. Like if I'm working from home, for the most part, I'm a stay-at-home mom. That's my main responsibility is stay-at-home mom. Um, and my mental health, I need to feel like I am helping somebody, like I'm contributing positively back to the community, that I'm actually using the degree that I earned and all this experience I've had. And it makes me feel like my self-worth is there, and if
Yeah.
I don't have all of these pieces of the puzzle, it's not complete. And that means that I'm talking to clients from my house. All of the ads on the streaming on his computer, and he works 80, 90 hours a week, but that doesn't phase his computer.
It doesn't. It's
It's just
crazy how,
not.
it like can read your mind like that. So what the big like thing that we want to do is my business name is Treat Yourself Simple. So my last name is Treat. So of course we had to bring that in. So we started my business. This round of the business, and I kind of can go into that because my background
Mhm.
a little bit, but this round of my business is called Treat Yourself Simple. And it's all about taking the simple things in life and putting that into place and putting those pieces back into place so that we can take out all that clutter and be able to like breathe, like be able to function and be able to do what we need to do the best that we can because we love to do it, you know? And that's one of the biggest things I think that is a goal for at least me, and I think it is for you guys as well.
Yeah, it's one of the messages that we put out there is that health can be easy. The
Mhm.
challenge is figuring it out for yourself, and a lot of times to make that the easiest process possible, it's to work with people and groups like Wild Free Health.
Mhm.
Because can we do it ourselves without doing that? Absolutely. But, if you're already dealing with a significant amount of other things, can you get the help? Do you
Right.
want the help? Do you want to make it easier, more efficient, higher quality, better
Right.
quantity? It's just one of those things. And the goal in life is to make it, or at least for us, our goal for our clients' lives is to make it so that when they are meal planning, when they are managing their health long term, and they've taken control of it, they've taken charge of it, and they're doing all the pieces of the puzzle that they have to do for them,
Mhm.
it's just easy. It's not overwhelming. It's not taking up a lot of their day. This is just part of life. Just like getting up and you got to go to the bathroom because your kidneys actually function healthily.
I
It's
was
just
just gonna I was
part
gonna
of life.
yeah, I was gonna throw in, I'm like, it is so simple. Like, why the question is why do we make like taking a shower? That's a chore. Technically, that's a chore
Yeah,
that we have to do
yeah,
every day to take care of ourselves.
right.
You can consider that self-care as well.
I totally consider it self-care.
So why do we I that is a question. So why do we like not think twice about making time to go into the bathroom and take a shower? And that shower may be 10 minutes long, it may be 20 minutes long. I may be sitting in the bath all night with a glass of wine. Who knows? But why do we make time for that but not time for our to take care of our bodies on the inside?
Right. And, I've had so many people come up to me over the years talking about how overwhelming meal planning and taking care of our health is. And it's like, okay, but wait, is that something you have been told over the years? Has it been drilled into you that it's hard? Or has your experience led you to believe it's hard?
Mhm.
There's a complete difference, and mass media marketing has basically been drilling messages into our brains since what, 1920, 1930 from TV
Mhm.
and radio, and it's just gotten more and more scientific, more and more psychological. I mean, the deal is if you hear something, it used to be 3 times. I think now it's either 7 or 15 times, but if you hear it that many times, it becomes true. So
Yeah.
there used to be this thing in nutrition classes, and they don't teach it now, but they used to say that you tell your clients, if you don't like this food, try it 3 more times. So you have to try it for a total of 4 times, right? Because the first one apparently doesn't count. So
Huh.
technically you're
Okay.
trying it 3 times, and after that 3rd time, you'll know whether you actually really like the food or really don't like the food,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
The it there's no there's no basis for that. There's no
Yeah.
scientific evidence for that. Effectively, you try a food, you either like it or you don't like it.
Right,
Done.
exactly. For me with food, sometimes it's more like the texture
Yeah,
or how it's prepared that like gets me. I don't know if you would consider that like a picky eater, because I know sometimes that is a struggle that like people have like with meal planning. I'm picky
yeah,
eaters and all these different things, these myths that are really out there about meal planning, that you have to make a perfect system and you have to start from fresh every time. Well, it is about the perfect system, but the perfect system is the system that we make for you, that
right,
works for your life,
right. Yeah,
because, we can read a thing, but if it doesn't fit our life, like, for instance, I don't like, I don't work 9 to 5. You
mm,
know what I mean? There may be calls I'm on at 9 o'clock in the morning. There may be calls I'm on at 9 o'clock at night, but I don't fit into that box, if
right.
that makes sense.
It does. Well,
You
to me
know?
it does, but I work the same way.
But for anybody that even the other way, like if you do work in a 9 to 5 and that is your schedule and you say, okay, when I'm out, I have this much time when I'm out of work. So you have from that 5 o'clock until midnight to decide what to do with your time. And that's where you've got to make those choices as to how you want to do it. Know that starting a new habit is going to take extra time to start it because it's something different. It's something we're not used to. But the thing is once you do it and you practice it and you take the time to figure it out, it actually saves you time in the long run.
Yeah, we always talk about we call them, practices.
Okay,
So
perfect.
daily practices lead
Yeah,
to building those habits.
yeah.
Over time, those habits become instinctive actions. Now, I mean, there are obviously some things that aren't as instinctive, but I will tell you this. I put out a TikTok, a little short,
Mhm.
on the end of February talking about 5-minute meal planning.
Okay.
And for me, it takes me 5 minutes. By the time I go to sit down and figure out what we're having next week, I already know what recipe I want to make.
Mhm.
Make one new one every week. For the most part, if it's wintertime, we make a certain amount of like certain dishes, and spring and summer, certain dishes, right? And it's seasonal. That's another
Mhm.
thing you and I really connected on is eating seasonally. If you're eating seasonally, then meal planning actually isn't really challenging. For some of my clients, I have one that loves coupons and discounts. And the challenge I gave her was whatever store you decide you're shopping at this week, go get their ad, look it up online, whatever, and tell me a recipe that's healthy that apply takes into account all the food sensitivities in your house and everything's on sale. And it was a challenge for her. And it
Mhm.
became fun. And for me,
Yeah.
I want to do it and I want to be done. But I see so much food in my world and so many different recipes that by the time I get to grocery shopping for that week, I already know what I'm going to make.
Mhm.
And
'Cause you've already been mentally like
yeah,
putting that in the back of your mind. And so that's
yeah,
great because that's a way you work.
yes,
This is just one way. So I kind of say that because a lot of us try to be like other people. We're like, "Oh, well she's famous and she said that it's done this way and she's done it this way and you've done it this way." And the thing is you've got to figure out what works for you and
bingo.
your family or you and your dog or you and your grandma, or you know what I mean. I'm in the empty nester phase. You and both Samantha are both moms with little ones and things like that, and that doesn't mean that we have different, like we're different in that way. Our kids are different ages, but that means that we still have that challenge that still comes at night every time. And not only that, but it's like we focus on the meal plan more in the evening, but what it does is by focusing on just one meal, the other meals start to fall into play
Mhm.
because that's part of the system that we teach and that we work with you is to, and it's not really teaching, it's just reminding you of the habits you already know.
Right.
It's
Right.
reminding you of the habits you already know and bringing those out from in hiding right now. They're like in the closet. They're
Yes.
kind of like, hey, I kind of want to come out, but I'm not sure what to do. Click, close the door.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a visual person, so
It is.
that's just me, but yeah. So,
I mean, so many of us, especially at this stage of life, a lot of the people that we work with are like mid-30s and up. So they've been out on their own for a while. They understand, okay, we have to grocery shop, we have to plan for meals. Like even if you don't plan for meals and all you buy are prepared meals, you're still planning for those meals.
yeah.
So you're still doing the actions, you're probably putting too much effort into it. So it's feeling worse than it actually needs to feel.
Mhm.
Um and I think that's really, we used to do this thing, Kim and I, where we would go online, and she was
Mhm.
always audio and I was video, and we would talk about myths, urban myths that are in
Yeah.
the world and the things that as a society we now believe are reality. In fact, when in reality they're not.
Mhm.
There's no truth to them, and it's something like this. You are meal planning.
Mhm.
You are meal prepping. You just don't have a system and a strategy for it in a lot of cases. So it feels chaotic, it feels stressful, it feels overwhelming. Going to the grocery store feels like you lose your butt at the counter. And you probably do because, like, if I go to a store without a list,
Mhm.
especially, oh my gosh, especially when the seasons shift and they've got all the produce I haven't seen in a while.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh,
You know,
that is dangerous for me.
I will tell you, I went the other I don't even know if I wanna say this out loud, but just don't tell my grandma, okay? I went the other day, it was $185. It's my grandma and I. It's me and my grandma.
Mhm.
Like, but it's just like I just like you said, I get excited about the fresh fruits and the fresh vegetables and like different things. And it's so funny because as you guys can hear, I live with my grandma. I take care of her. She's 90 and I love it. I love it because this whole food thing, she's like my tester of everything. And I'm always like, okay, grandma, what do you think we should have now? And she's so funny because like she's understanding now how the food works because that's part of the system with us in the programs is actually learning how they work in your body because once you know how the food works in your body it makes it much easier to make your your decisions on what goes together. And I
Yeah.
know we are decision
Oh my gosh, yeah.
overload.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so that's a huge thing is that with the meal planning I keep calling it meal planning. It's flexible meal planning. That's really what it is because meal planning to me is like a box. And I'm like, I'm so not in a box. And I so don't always feel like coming home and having what I thought I was gonna have. And I don't want to put that out onto anybody else
Right.
because I believe that you really can eat anything and everything that you want within reason, guys. Go to the fair, enjoy your fair food, have a pizza with your friends, go have beer with your friends. These things that we consider the spinach and artichoke dip that's going to be the fat dip. I don't know. When I go out with my girlfriends, I'm like, you know what? This is the one time I get spinach and artichoke dip.
Yes.
Give it
Yeah,
to me. And so
yeah,
that's where I know that this works because you're not depriving yourself of anything and you feel the benefits of it. That's the thing. The benefits of
yeah.
it are just indescribable because it's like the sleep, like I can just wake up and
And you have things in there, you have options. Like, I'm always telling people, you don't have to eat what's there.
yeah,
It's part of the reason we partnered with that app is they have it set where you can change what you're eating. It's flexible. And
yeah,
I'm like you, if I make something 100% and I'm saying, "Okay, this is what I'm gonna eat at this time, this time, this time," the minute I get to that time, I don't wanna eat it. So I
Yeah.
have to have when I make things, and it kinda drives my husband crazy because he's the opposite. If you give him a meal plan, you say, "This is what you're eating at these times," sticks to it, no problem. I'm totally the opposite. You tell me I can't do something or that I have to do something,
Mhm.
and now I'm gonna tell you it's not gonna happen.
Right, right,
I
right.
I'm not doing it. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna stick in the mud um, and so when I meal plan and I prep, what I have to do is I have these recipes in my head. If it's salads, wraps, whatever the case is, I actually prep the meat to go with a variety of cuisines. So no
Mhm.
matter what I'm preparing, if it involves chicken, fish, shrimp, whatever, it's been prepped so I can pull it and either make it or just top it on top of a salad or whatever the case may be.
Exactly, exactly,
Makes
exactly.
it my brain doesn't think about it anymore.
Right, right, and that's it. It's like one of these things that, like, you can just do and put it aside. When you have this done, you can just put it aside, and once you get the system put into place, it's really not very much planning, honestly, anymore,
Yeah.
because you're into the habit of just doing it. And I mean, like, with the one-on-ones with me, so there's 2 different ways to work with me. One is through a DIY. Samantha and I have the part of the program that we all put together through Wild Free, and with that, that is where it's more like when you get to Samantha and my part, it is the CEO snack. That is a DIY. It's a 21-day course program that you guys can just follow along. It's a DIY. You get an email every day from us that gives you motivation, it gives you the mindset piece of it, it gives you the habits to start putting into place. It is so that you can do it on your own.
Mhm.
But if you are somebody that's not a person that knows that they're going to be accountable to make sure that they do that, I would strongly encourage the one-on-one coaching. And the one-on-one coaching is going to be there because we're going to be accountable for you every week. It is more of a commitment, but you are going to have habits at the end of it because it takes 21 days to make a habit, which is why we started out with the 21-day,
Yes.
DIY course, because that gives you a little parts of being able to start some of those habits. So we teach that stuff just more in depth into the one-on-one because we're actually bringing this into your life to taking the concepts and saying, okay, now let's look at it. What happens in your life? What is your typical schedule? Oh, I don't have a typical schedule. Don't worry, that's me too. So we know we got to eat how many times? How many times a week are we going to actually be at home? Taking some of those different things into consideration, that is parts of what you want to look at when you're picking and choosing which programs you want to go with. So, with the CEO snack, that's it. It's just a DIY. It's like a three. It's super cute. I just like it. It's a snack.
I love that we paired that with our reset and our restart. So the reset is a
Yes.
6-week program. The actual active nutrition piece of that is 4 weeks. So
Okay.
we have the prep time, we connect everybody with you guys. So you can actually start your CEO snack, get some foundations going, and by the
Yeah.
time we chat with you,
Exactly.
you've got your program down, you know how to compile it within the lessons that you've been teaching them.
Yep.
And everything that we do, the Rejuvenate has your 12-week program. And the
Mhm.
Rejuvenate is that's our signature program. It's 16 weeks. You get your prep time, you get your, transition to maintenance or transition to just continuing what you've been doing so you can continue to heal until you're ready for maintenance.
Mhm.
And all of it really is compiled in to make sure that when you reach the end of our programs, our mutual work together, you're not looking at, okay, it's over, let's go back to the way things were. It's
Yeah.
you've now learned what you need and you've delved really deep into your subconscious.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
people see nutritionists and they think, oh, well, it's just food. Most of what we do is actually in your brain. It's mindset.
Mhm. It is, and the thing about it is I here's how I kind of describe like the food that we're eating. I compare it to a car, driving a car. Okay.
Ah,
So we all driven cars. You go to the gas station and you've got regular, mid grade, or premium to fill up with, right? So why do we need gas? We need gas because we got to put it in to make it run. All right. So
mm,
let's use that same scenario with our food.
yeah,
What do we need for gas to make us run? Food, sleep. Well, food, and in food, I'm saying water, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Wellness, taking care of
yeah,
yourself, nutrients, giving yourself that. And sleep. Those are the two things that fuel our body. So if you're not getting those two things, you're probably not fueling your body properly. And you might be filling it with like the low end of the low grade regular fuel, in your car. So, if we look at, we normally just go to the gas station and fill up our car with regular gas. And
right.
that's fine. That's our food we get. That's what we've been getting our whole life. That's what our parents normally, most of people taught, at least in our generation, I would say that that's how our parents raised us. You know what I mean? We kind of did our thing. We made our stuff at home, whatever we went along and things. But then you have that mom that kind of ups it a little bit more, or you know what I mean? The
Yes,
person like maybe we've turned in to say, hey, we want to eat better. We want to feel better. What are our options? Well, I can go to the doctor and I can get things. I'm not going to say you shouldn't. Okay. I'm not going to say you shouldn't. But sometimes when you feel like you're not getting the answer or an answer that you're satisfied with, you've got to be that person to be your best researcher in there and do that research for yourself. And so that's where we're kind of just reaching out, and we've got the, certification with us with this and the education behind it that backs it up too. So I guess I'm pointing this out as that's our premium fuel. That
right.
is our premium fuel that we're able to put into our bodies to be able to have the things that we want. It's that little additive. It's the same food. It's just a little additive of knowing that we need, more of the grass fed or the organic on certain things. I am not an organic on everything. I'm an organic on certain things. Your dirty dozen is an
Yes,
organic thing for me,
yes,
that kind of a thing. And so those are the things that we're teaching you, is to teach you because it is confusing. Okay, they say organic, you got to eat this way and you got to eat that way. And is it better to eat chickens raised off a farm, or is it better to have
right.
farm raised fish or freshwater fish, or you know what I mean? How do you know all of those things? So those are some of the questions that we can help answer in there to be able to direct you to the best avenue of the premium food that we want you to have, to be able to give you the premium benefits. The premium benefits are able to wake up in the morning. You're not foggy headed. You're not saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't go on another day. I need to, I've got to go back to bed for a little while. I need a nap."
Yeah,
All of those different things. I don't know. For me, it's like the passion and to be able to do what I love to do. When I don't eat
yeah,
right, my energy level is not where I want it to be. And I can't help other people and out help other people as far as even my grandma. You know what I mean? Just local people in the community and things. And for me, that's fulfilling. And so like food is yes, food is food, but it's like more than just food. Like there's so much more that's tied to food. Ugh, I just get sorry, I
it's
get like
exciting,
no,
isn't it? It's exciting.
it
That's
is.
part of the reason I delve so deep into nutrition. Like, I started out a fitness trainer and just kept diving deeper and deeper and deeper into nutrition, and then eventually herbal medicine, and learning how to pair herbs and spices with your food. There is a reason Mediterranean food has oregano, thyme, rosemary, and garlic
In
and
almost everything.
yeah, almost everything. These are our healers. And right now, cold and flu season, guess what you should be overloading your body with?
Yeah.
Oregano, garlic, onion, thyme, rosemary,
Yeah.
all of these herbs and spices. And that, to me, there's so many people when they hear me say that my degree is connected to herbal medicine that was part of my education. Oh, aromatherapy. Like, well, I mean, sure. But that was like, because when I found out that you could use herbs in your food, not just throw them in a diffuser, whatever, but that the reason that our food is spiced the way that it is because of the regions of the world that it came from and the things that people deal with. Now, in the Mediterranean area,
Mhm.
um, you've got a lot of that humidity, so you're going to have a lot of moisture in the air. So now you've got your thyme, you've got your garlic, it's gonna dry out that mucus, it's gonna clear it out, it's gonna create more blood flow, your lymphatic system's gonna flow better because that's what it does.
Mhm.
And learning these things in a piecemeal way is the best way to get it stuck into your subconscious, so now you're not thinking about it. You know it's
Mhm.
cold and flu season, and for some reason,
Yeah.
you're craving these foods.
Yeah.
And these flavors, and that's what happens,
Yeah.
is your cravings are now transitioned as you learn, as you go through either the snack or the 12-week. I think you would get you would get a lot more out of the 12-week, um, quite frankly, because it's just there's a lot there. There's a
Mhm.
lot of personalization there, and as you learn these things, it gets stuck in your subconscious, and your cravings shift, your desires shift.
Mhm.
Things that you notice in the world, a lot of people don't realize that when you're noticing these things, it's because of a subconscious trigger.
Hmm. That's fake.
Yeah. So meal planning, that I mean, there is so much there and people don't a lot of people I talk to don't realize that connection.
Mhm.
Especially the ones I love talking to the people who did things on their own.
Mhm.
They force themselves to figure this out. They don't know why. They don't know
And
why
that
it
was
happened.
me. That was me.
Yeah. And you figured it out. And now you're going back going, oh, okay,
Yeah. Well,
this makes sense, and
yeah.
you're connecting the dots.
My story starts back way back in 2008. The food thing does,
Yeah,
because I was actually working as a district sales manager and working 60 hours a week, and I had 2 babies at home, and I needed to make sure I had dinner.
mhm,
So, I found out about freezer-friendly dinners. You went into this store, you actually there was, like, mini kitchens, you, like, prepped all your food in the stores, you put it into a freezer bag, and you took it home, and you threw it in your freezer, and then you'd pull them out and make them. Oh my gosh, they had the instructions on them and everything. Did you ever do that?
no, I've never done those,
But
and when I discovered them, it was after my dairy issue, and
okay.
I at the time, I was struggling with some gluten issues, so I couldn't eat any of them. So I was like, "Okay, well,
Well, so
that's fine."
here's the thing. So, at the same time, my son, by the way, had been going through, we started to having to do sensitivity issues. He had
Mhm,
been my kid that went from cold, bronchitis, pneumonia, year after year after year after year. And it
yeah,
went through about 3 or 4 times a year. So he
mm,
was on steroids all the time, on inhalers and everything. And as a mom, I finally said, "Okay, I'm tired of the doctors just saying, 'Take this.'" The poor kid is playing, he plays ice hockey, for crying out loud.
God,
They're not rides dirt bikes. Like, he's a kid that was on his two-wheeler, riding a two-wheeler at 2 years old. Like, he's just not a kid that sits still. And I said, "I need to figure out something else." So we had a holistic doctor practice in the area in my local town. So I started taking him in there, and that's where I started learning about how food works. And as a mom, I was like, if I can fix his food to help the way that he's going to be able to live his life, I'm gonna do what I gotta do because that's something I can control. And as a mom, I knew what I was giving him would help him to feel better. He's 23 now and he lives his own life, but he does do better than what I think. I don't know. I try to give him good benefits because he knows how it makes him feel. I'm not saying he's a perfect kid and he never has things he shouldn't, but for the most part, he, he makes those choices. Lactose is not a friend of his. He knows what happens when he doesn't when
Mhm.
he and even no matter what age he is, he literally throws up in the morning when he gets up, coughing, and
Mm.
I know exactly why that is. And that's from the gut health and the villi that now have like basically died because
Yeah.
his gut has had so much of that stuff. So that was like an eye opener to me when I started learning that and figuring that out. And that was where I kind of took the the understanding of it, the concept of the business, and I said, I the planning business, and I said, I don't have to do a franchise. I can do this on my own. I'm smart. So I had a storefront, and we did that for about 3 years. And I worked in farmers markets, and I did classes at the store and things like that. Life happens, divorce and kids graduating. So, with my recipes kept following me, and so this has all kind of been worked on since like during COVID and all that. I just never knew how it was going to all turn out completely. And now that it's actually like coming to life, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like so exciting because these are the things like I'm doing. Like
Mhm.
you see it in your like I see it in my house. And the reason why I say that is with my story that I gave you, I did just move in with my grandma on December 15th. So now I live with my grandma. And so now
Yeah.
she sees the system and she sees it in place and she's like, "Oh my gosh, that's a great system." And it's easy for her to use. So she
Right.
can grab things out of the fridge. So this is more than just like us telling you what to do, like habits wise. This is like kitchen edit, like literally setting up your kitchen, putting your dishes into places so that it makes sense, that
Yes.
it's easy to grab things, not that it's just a convenient spot to use it, but it's like what goes with what? How do we make a flow in your kitchen to make that work? So I don't know if you consider that some of the Zen stuff or whatever with the what is it?
The feng shui.
Yes, yes, thank you. I
Yeah.
feel like it's kind of like that as I'm sitting here talking a little bit, but
It it for me, it feels like that, and I will tell you why. So, it's funny you're saying all of that. Um, so our last house, it was like a closed off kitchen, right?
mhm,
Put a walkway into it, it was kinda closed off. It it didn't feel right.
mhm.
The flow wasn't there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And in our kitchen now, we have this big counter, and
Mhm.
everything that I use to prep food is either up or down.
Yeah.
There's a coffee center, so coffee, teas, smoothies, everything's in one section,
Yep.
and then the cabinets that they always do the cabinets almost to the dining room,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they just cut off, right?
Right.
So that's where all of the kids' stuff is. So we have the kids' stuff up top so they can't touch it, and then we have, pots and pans underneath. And we do that for flow.
Yeah.
It was much easier when we first moved in and the boys were like we moved in, I think they were 2. Yeah, they were 2.
Mhm.
They just turned 2. So they were definitely on solids, but they were making messes everywhere, right?
Mhm.
They were knocking bowls over, and I didn't give them bowls until we got into this house,
Mhm.
mostly because it was gonna be messy anyway, so
Right, right,
I didn't
right.
even bother. And when I go to other people's houses, I can tell when it's not set up that way. Like, when I'm
Mhm.
prepping, I want everything right there,
Yep.
and it may not make sense to other people's houses, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It Everything's within reach, and it's most definitely feng shui. Feng shui talks about the various points in flow based on, your compass.
Okay. Mhm.
So, it feels feng shui, but I don't think it's actually I think it's more it flows.
Yeah, it's the that I guess it's that idea. I guess that's what I was
Yeah,
trying to get
it's
across.
most
It's the
definitely the
idea more
idea.
than anything. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. To me, it's just like I don't know. The kitchen is my space. Like a lot of people like to go into the living room and like relax in the living room. It's really weird because my space is like the kitchen completely.
Mine too.
I go between my office and the kitchen, the office and the kitchen. And I don't know. I just like the feeling of it. And it's weird because like we have a little table out there, and it's not even a table that we really like, but it's just like a little breakfast nook. And so that's where
Yeah.
we hang out. Like whenever people come over, they don't come into our living room. We go hang out in the kitchen.
Us too.
I
Us
don't
too.
know. I mean, it just tends to be where we like gather at. And so I don't know, with the flow and the feel, that whole, it's behind cupboards, but just knowing that that stuff is put together, it's like in your brain, like it has its places. And that's the thing, is that to get into the places of knowing what those things are that fit into your category one, so to say, your proteins, and then your, your carbs. And carbs are not all bad for you. We'll tell you more about them in the program for sure. But there's the whole thing about carbs being bad for you. And oh my goodness.
You might wanna tell everybody what carbs actually are, because so many people say carbs and they think one type, and it's not one type.
Yeah, you've got
It's meat.
grains, you've got your fruits, you've got vegetables. Those are all carbs. And you guys, that's all part of what you need. That's part of your diet. That's part of what balances everything and makes everything, like I say, flow and work together like a house,
Mhm.
like a
Yeah,
house.
and you
So,
can have starches. Starches
yeah,
is not bad for you.
yeah. Yeah. I consider I call the starches more like grain kind of things, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because it's like
yeah,
that's your potatoes, that's your, you know
right.
what I mean? That kind of stuff that fits in there. But it's like your finishing piece, because you know what? The thing is, and I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but when you don't have all of those pieces at the end of your meal, you're still like, I'm still hungry, but I don't know what I want. And I said that to my grandma one time, because she goes, "Oh, I'm still hungry." So I go, "Grandma, we didn't have the cottage cheese, and that was like the part of the meal. You know what I mean? That was part of it." And she was like, "Oh." I go, "That's why it's really good to have the whole meal and not just one little part of it."
Well, and here's the other piece is what people many people don't understand or even know, and I didn't know for a very long time, is the way that amino acids work is you have an amino and you have an acid, and they have to lock and key together, right?
Mhm.
With plant foods, with all of your carbohydrates, you need each piece to plug it in. So your fruits and vegetables and your grains and starches, you need them both to complete that amino acid. And if you don't complete the amino acid, the signals your gut is sending to your brain, because that brain gut communication, it's constantly rolling, right?
Mhm.
The signals it's sending is that you're not complete. So until you complete those amino acids,
Yep.
brain thinks it's not done eating yet.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Now you've got this amino acid combination, but then on top of it, if you're used to eating certain things with your fruits and vegetables, just like you're saying with the cottage cheese, if you're used to having certain things on your plate and then that piece goes missing, once again, your gut and your brain are going, "Oh wait, something's missing."
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel satisfied.
Right.
Leptin and ghrelin they like to play, man.
Mhm.
They really like to play, and they will throw some false signals left and right if you're not careful.
Mhm. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I mean, like, I just am amazed at just understanding how the food works, that made me that I think helped me to start looking at food and meal planning
Yeah.
much different. And that was like, I think the key piece for me was understanding that, because even as I was learning the nutrition and still working with the freezer friendly meals and even going into it myself, I knew how I needed to adjust the recipes to make it so that it was lactose free, and you could accommodate the sensitivities. There are more and more like corporate companies that are coming out with this, because they're becoming more aware that it is an importance, and at least I think this is what they're realizing. The pandemic, maybe I shouldn't call that the, I don't know what you call it, the obesity that we're facing. Is that a pandemic, epidemic? It's just a problem. I don't know what you call it,
Problem.
but
It's a
it's a
problem.
problem that we're facing, and it starts when the kids are little. And so when we are the people that are influencing them. Even if we're like me, I don't necessarily, I still have my kids, but I don't have that much influence over them. But guess what? I'm going to have influence over my grandkids. And so I'm going to be the one that when they come to grandma's house, I'm going to be the one to teaching them about planting a garden and how to sustain themselves and do all of these things, because that's when they learn it right when they're first born, and that's how they grow up. These things aren't issues to them. You can get off track. Yeah, you can get
Oh,
off
yeah.
track with anything in life, and this can help bring you back on track. So this can be something like that. But if it's something you're just starting, I mean, this is no a great place to start. But having kids or being able to influence the kids that are maybe even around you, even if they're not yours, to by having a garden and bringing the kids in and, getting involved in some of that community stuff and things like that. Like, you don't have to do all that. I just think it makes it fun and makes that a fun part of your life. And to me, it's like, it's bettering me, it's bettering my family, and we're all learning different things from it. And it's fun. Why not? Why
Yeah.
not?
My kids love it. Yesterday is a great example. So mine have actually learned, Keegan has learned that if you're gassy, you have lemon water.
Okay.
He calls it lemonade. It
Uh-huh.
took
Hey.
until, like, I think my sister gave him actual lemonade
Oh,
maybe
goodness.
almost a year ago. And that was about the point he was like, wait, it's supposed to have sugar in it. Uh, but yesterday, like, they've been fighting this cold, as you know, the last couple
Yeah,
of weeks, right? And the
yeah,
cold just won't go away. So
yeah.
I basically, the last week, have been inundating them with pineapple and blueberry.
Oh, okay.
Um, for those of you that don't know, pineapple, the bromelain within pineapple actually helps soothe and ease coughs. It it
Hmm,
turns off that coughing sensation. Like, you know how sometimes you start
mhm.
coughing and you just kind of have that cough and it just never goes away, and it's almost like you don't have to cough, your brain just thinks you have to cough. It
Yeah,
puts that down,
yeah.
and it actually heals the part of your throat that's spasming and wanting to trigger the cough. It also thins out mucus.
Mhm.
If there's any mucus flow between, your olfactory system and your gut because of clogged sinuses, anything like that, it'll actually help thin it out and reduce the desire for coughing. So it soothes that cough, right?
Mhm.
So I've been inundating them. And yesterday they saw something on one of their shows. They made blueberry juice to go into popsicles. And all of a sudden he wanted blueberry lemonade. And I actually had to Google blueberry lemonade and how to make it. It's not that bad. I'm gonna do a little short reel about it. Basically, you blend it up and then you strain it, right?
Okay,
The
yeah.
same thing as a juicer does, but we don't have a juicer. Um, and we made blueberry lemonade.
Hey, there you go.
I am trying to figure out sourdough, partly because they eat so much bread. It's bugging me.
Yeah.
As a nutritionist, it's bugging me. And I'm learning.
What does that mean? Does that mean, like, that you're I know, like, when I crave salt, that means that I'm lacking protein, or that you know what I mean? They say different things, like,
Um,
when you're craving chocolate,
yeah,
you're low on magnesium, you know what I mean? Things
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, so right now they're craving energy, right? And they've just discovered a couple of months ago, they discovered the joy of sandwiches. They used to take them apart and eat
Okay.
these separate, and
Yeah.
now they've learned the joy of eating it
Uh-huh.
like a sandwich. So for their age, part of it is the fact that it's a sandwich,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Just that idea. And the other part of it is they are in the middle of a growth spurt. I put jeans on Drew today, this much, too short. And Drew's the kid that the jeans are always too long.
Uh-huh.
So they're growing, they're in the middle of a growth spurt. So they need energy is what that actually means, is they're not
Okay.
they're just craving energy.
Okay.
And their little brains are focused on sandwiches, so that's what they're gonna crave.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem buying bread, but I have a problem buying bread at a store so often. It's either going to bankrupt us or bring in crappy ingredients that don't need to be in bread anyway. Um,
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason I started trying to figure out this whole sourdough thing and
Yeah.
trying to figure out a system to keep
Yeah.
it right. But I'm also trying to figure out gardening.
Mhm.
Not I have a black thumb. Thank
Yeah.
you. No question about it. I have a former client who is a four-star chef. Her husband is as well. They have a backyard garden. They
Uh-huh.
sell things left and right, and they're all the way over. We're in Dallas, they're in Fort Worth, and it doesn't seem like it's that far, but it's like
Yeah.
hour and a half of traffic, right? And I go out there to get my spring produce to
Mhm.
bring it home to grow it with the boys, but she starts it.
Oh, yeah. No, I did that too. I was like, "Oh, you're a cheater," but you know what? I did it too, so I'm a cheater
Yeah.
too.
Well,
But
so
you know
we
what? If that's what you need to do,
yeah,
yeah,
and she's helping me too, like, the boys and I last year, we grew seeds, and then right about the time they were dying, I sent her a message, and this is how it all started, is I sent her a message, I'm like, "Dude, okay, so this is what they look like." She goes, "Oh my gosh, it's perfect. We have stuff here, come out." I'm like, "Thank you." And
so you
basically,
just swapped 'em out.
she just swapped them. We brought our things out, and she went back and worked magic because
Uh-huh.
she's a garden magician. And
Yes.
what came out was these plants that we now
Yay, you had.
this
Awesome.
year, we're gonna make raised I'm gonna put raised garden beds so
Yep,
they can take care of their garden,
yep,
and we can grow various things like our lettuce and our
yeah.
spinach and, our they love cucumbers. We're gonna grow
Well,
the they love.
they have too. I know one of the people that I worked with, she was talking about the garden tower that
Yeah,
they actually advertise like it's a QV. I want to say it's a QVC or something. And she was talking about using that as well. I know I always have all kinds of lettuces going, you know what I mean, in my fridge at least. I do definitely watch, you know what I mean, what kinds I'm getting. I have ones that I obviously prefer more than others. And there's different nutrients in each of them.
exactly.
So that's the things. Like for me, I know I'm low on iron a lot. So I do a lot of spinach,
Mhm.
because I always have spinach and I can add it to pretty much anything and everything. And I know that that's going to help me to get my iron because iron pills are not very easy to digest and absorb at all. And that's just like that, those are little things that you know about yourself that
Mhm.
that's where you can take those little tiny pieces and put there in there. I think I forgot to tell you guys about like what was included in the secret the CEO recipe.
We need to do that. So for
Yeah, we got
people who
I know
don't
we're getting
know,
close to the end, and so I was like, "Oh my
we
goodness, I
are.
gotta tell them that." So,
Please do.
um, the CEO recipe is our 12-week customized program. Like, Bonnie said, it will complement with, the full program, so it will go into there, but I just let you know how long that our portion runs within there. And the purpose of that is, of course, is to help build the habits and to make sure that they stick. So, just a quick overview is the CEO recipe gives her a strategic and personalized plan that will make daily meals an easy and productive part of her day that will contribute to her success in business and life. So that's my everything.
I
So I
like it.
don't forget. I have to read it because otherwise I forget it and I go like super excited and go ad lib and I completely forget to tell you stuff. So that's why I had to do that.
I totally get it. I get it. I'm glad you flagged it though, because that's definitely something that, especially with everybody coming onto podcasts. So when Kate and I did our podcast together, we were just starting to talk about how we could include her services with my clients
Mhm.
and kind of partner and pair up that way. And now I mean, that's been months, and today it's all come together.
Yeah.
So we've actually talked about redoing our episode in a couple of months. So that like,
Yay.
a year later, and here we are
Yeah,
again.
that'll be
Uh,
fun.
yeah, and then we have our 5-day coming up. You
Yes.
have stuff happening too.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would love for you to fill everybody in on that.
Yeah. So
Because
we've got here coming up on the 22nd and 23rd, just in a couple days. You can come and actually see me in person. I will be at the Kalamazoo Women's Expo in Kalamazoo, Michigan. and we have a corner booth. I'm super excited. When you get there, you are going to feel like you're walking into a kitchen is what you're going to feel like. And we get to speak on stage a couple times. So, give some giveaways. We've got one of our 7-day meal planning guides that's going to be coming out with some nuggets in there to share with you guys and ways that you guys can get involved with us. As soon as we get done with that, gosh, we've got things coming up. We're going to be doing the what is ours called? It's the because I know
Uh,
on the 15th I'm speaking on 415
You are.
right
You're
after
speaking April
Easter.
15th. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is our 5-day reset challenge. And we named it after our reset program because a lot of the principles are the same. We
Mhm.
talk about reset and restore and rejuvenate, and really those are just the phases of the programs that we've pulled together over the years. It's been the same structure. We've tweaked it and tweaked it and tweaked it to the point that now it's just the way that it is. And um, the clients that I worked with 10 years ago
Mhm.
know what's included in each and every phase because this is what they went through.
Yeah.
So the 5-day reset kind of gives you a little glimpse into what is possible. And it comes with your meal guide, it comes with tips and tricks, things to get you through the week. It comes with some teas and tisanes. There's a whole program associated with it. And effectively it's like a quarterly reset. It's a
It
seasonal reset. In January, we talked about the seasonal foods that apply for winter.
Mhm.
And on April 15th, we're talking about spring because we're in the throes of spring.
Yeah. Spring
So,
forward. We just
yeah.
have we just changed time over here. So I don't know. I don't know that that happens everywhere though is what I'm finding out and I never knew that.
No, Arizona has places where it doesn't happen. And down here, it does. And I'm looking forward to the day when they actually say, "Oh, no more."
Okay, good, good. I'm happy that
I
somebody else is in the
wish
same boat because that's kind
yeah,
of the way I feel as well. So,
yeah. It throws me for a loop, and it's not like we even have um much schedule shifts, like with the boys being as young as they are. Like there really
it
isn't
just
much that shifts.
yeah,
You
but it
know,
does. I don't know what happens.
Yeah, it's there's something with the barometric pressure and the light coming into the room and in the morning and the evening and it throws me. In the spring and the fall, it throws me for a loop.
But
Uh,
we've got good things happening in spring. It's going to
oh,
get us ready for summer and all these fun things happening. I'm excited. Yeah. So definitely check us out. Watch us, on the YouTube, watch us on our Facebook and our social media. You guys are going to see what's all happening and the growth and how the team is like coming together, which is awesome because you guys get to be a part of all of it. So you can say, I was the first one. I get to be at the very beginning. And this is just, it's so exciting to be able to share a space and time with other like minded women to be able to get out like one cause and one thing that we're all working towards. So,
yes, yeah.
I think that's amazing. Thank you. I just thank you for including me.
I'm excited. I feel like we all came together at just the right point in time. And it's flowing so seamlessly and so well. And something that those of you out there, I'll put the link below to the Wild Free Health community. Everybody is in there. Our challenge happens within the community. um Ladies, hop on in. It is a
Hmm.
safe place. We wanted it to be a safe, comfy landing space so that you can talk about whatever you want, whatever you're dealing with, because so many of our people, you've experienced this as well, they're experiencing symptoms they don't want to talk about with other
Hmm.
people. And
Hmm.
this is your place to do it.
Yeah.
So we will keep everybody updated in the community. We tell you everything that's happening. And
Yeah.
I will have links below for your event, for the community, for our challenge, for everything that is happening. There's more exciting things that we're not mentioning here. We're gonna
Uh-huh.
that little teaser. Um,
Yeah.
so if you really want to find out what's going on after April 15th, then I suggest you either follow us on social media, like, subscribe here, or hop on into the Wild Free Health community.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. I always love talking to you, and we hours,
We're
so
the
we're
pink girls.
yeah, every time we get
Woohoo!
together, right?
Yes, yes.
All right, folks. It was so great to have you here. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm gonna grab my coffee cup instead of my water because the ADHD, you gotta have like your cup and then your support cup.
There you go. There you go. For sure.
Bye, guys. We will see you later. Cheers.